All right, guys, so we got to talk about Senator Tim Scott, who has come under fire from the woke revolutionary left and the black elites, the black liberal elites, because he made the grave mistake as a black man in this country voting against the first black woman nominee to be put on the Supreme Court, Miss Ketanji Brown Jackson, who was confirmed yesterday to the Supreme Court. All the Democrats voted for her, plus like 3 Republicans. I think it was Mitt Romney, Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, you know, the typical characters. So yeah, I think it was pretty obvious as time went on that she was going to be confirmed to the court. I mean, it was obvious that all the Democrats were going to go along with it. The only surprise are the 3 Republicans that voted for her as well. So, I mean, it is what it is at this point. But again, you know, Tim Scott is receiving backlash for his vote because, again, apparently as a black man, it is a sin to vote against a black woman being on the Supreme Court. And I'm going to read some tweets here that are in response to Tim Scott's decision to vote against Miss Ketanji Brown Jackson. And then we're going to get into Joy Reid, who basically accused Tim Scott of going along with racism for his vote as well. So let's read here. Isaac Haynes says, Senator Tim Scott voting no on confirming Ketanji Brown Jackson as the first black woman on the Supreme Court is appalling. Sad. How could Tim Scott, as a black man, vote no on confirming Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, a more than qualified black woman, and still be able to look at himself in the mirror? There are 3 black men on the U.S. Senate. One of them, Tim Scott, voted no on confirming Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Supreme Court. There is always one of us who thinks they are better than the rest of us black folks. His no vote is a disgrace. Yeah, I said it. Republican Senator Tim Scott is a POS who will vote no to confirm Ketanji Brown Jackson. Scott is the only black Republican in Congress, and he voted to confirm Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Barrett, who are all less qualified than KBJ. Disgusting. Scott is an Uncle Tom. Okay, now keep in mind, guys, I am liking tweets that I bookmark. Okay, I don't like tweets just because, you know, I agree with it. I don't agree with that tweet. I just like them to bookmark them. Tim Scott voted no on confirming Ketanji Brown Jackson and gave a thumbs down for good measure. A great example of blackness not being a monolith. Regardless, I'm happy to see the first black woman justice, especially since we hadn't had a black justice since Thurgood Marshall. Wait, what happened to Clarence Thomas? Apparently, Clarence Thomas is not black. Apparently, you only can be black if you are a Democrat. Okay, again, typical talking points here. Again, this comes from a guy that basically doxed a woman for basically getting in an argument with him at a dog park. Okay, so with that being said, let's go ahead and get into Joy Reid, who accused Tim Scott of going along with racism for his vote. And this is Tim Scott's response. Take a look.
The nation's highest court facing historic change as Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson is set to be confirmed by the Senate this afternoon.
That's right. 47 GOP senators, including our next guest, will vote against her confirmation. South Carolina GOP Senator Tim Scott is here to explain why. Senator, I want to get your comments on why you're not voting for the judge, but I wanted you to first react to Joy Reid's MSNBC's tweet. She said, all accuracy here, not surprised by anything Tim Scott does. He let Lindsey Graham and the sheriff dog walk him and destroy police reform after pretending to work on it. And now he'll go along with Lindsey's barking dog racism against Judge Jackson because he's Tim Scott. Senator.
Good morning to all y'all. Let me just say this. What is so offensive about what Joy is saying is that a black man cannot think for himself. I have to follow somebody else. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, but it reinforces the liberal elite's approach to minorities who will not fall in line and do what they tell us to do. There are millions of Americans who happen to be black, who want to think for themselves, who will think for themselves, but the power of the liberal elite wants to attack us like vicious dogs because they do not want anyone standing up opposed to what they are doing, leading our country in the wrong direction. It is vile, it is offensive, and we should stop allowing the liberal media to push these stories by their hosts that want one thing and one thing only: progressive liberal policies that make it harder for African Americans, not easier. That's why President Biden's numbers in the black community and the Hispanic community are going down, 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 because we can see with our own eyes what the policies and the principles of the left are doing to us, not for us. But you can help bring people like Wesley Hunt and John James behind me, bring the cavalry to rescue by going to votetimscott.com. I need your support to defend against this lack of common sense, this hypocrisy of the
Senator,
left. If we do more of that, we'll be in a better shape.
I hate to step on you, but yet you're right. You offered amendments to the Democrats to get police reform done. They decided not to go through that. But why specifically are you not voting for the judge for the Supreme Court?
It's a very simple answer. I did not vote for her for a lower court because I believe that her judicial philosophy is inconsistent with what is in the best interest of our judiciary. Can you imagine me then coming back and changing my mind on a more important, the most important seat in the judiciary? The Supreme Court of the United States. It's not Biden's Supreme Court, it's America's Supreme Court. The number of her cases that have been overturned only reinforces the fact that this requires a deeper look. And the deeper I look, the more I realize that her judicial philosophy is antithetical to mine.
All right, so that is Tim Scott articulating why he voted against Ketanji Brown Jackson being on the Supreme Court. Now, here's the funny part about this. I guarantee you that every single last one of these people that are criticizing Tim Scott for his vote could not articulate reasons why Ketanji Brown Jackson should be on the Supreme Court. Okay? I guarantee you, outside of the fact that she's a black woman, I promise you they wouldn't be able to do it. Okay? But see, again, we live in a country where if you're black, you have to go along with whatever the Democrat Party says you have to go along with, especially if it involves a black woman. Okay? Or if you don't do it, then you're a sellout, you're a Tom, you're this, you're that. Okay? You're not allowed to simply think for yourself and say, hey, you know what? Let me actually make my decision based off my own personal philosophy and whether or not my personal philosophy agrees with her philosophy, right? You can't do that, okay? It has to be based off skin color. It doesn't matter if Ketanji Brown Jackson stands for things that Tim Scott doesn't agree with. It doesn't matter about values, morals, ethics, again, judicial philosophy, none of that stuff. Don't matter. What matters to them is she's a black woman, you're a black man, therefore you have to support it. And see, this type of thinking is why people can't get ahead, because your skin color should not be a qualification. And that is why Miss Ketanji Brown Jackson got a whole lot of criticism in the first place after she was nominated by Joe Biden, because Joe Biden told us that he was nominating her simply because of her skin color and what's between her legs. Okay? So Joe Biden is the one that did her a disservice by leading with that instead of leading with her qualifications, which is why a whole lot of people have questioned her qualifications, even though, hey, I looked at the woman's resume and it's like, well, I can't say she's not qualified, okay? But again, I'm not an expert in this stuff, okay? But it doesn't seem that there's anything glaring there to me from a background perspective that would make her unqualified. However, I can understand why somebody would say, hey, I don't necessarily want her on the Supreme Court because I don't agree with her judicial philosophy, or just plain old politics, which is kind of what a lot of this is. And it's the same reason why the Democrats all voted against Amy Coney Barrett, why they voted against Brett Kavanaugh, why they voted against Neil Gorsuch. The reason why is because of politics. Okay? That's what it is. It ain't got nothing to do with race, ain't got nothing to do with skin color, ain't got nothing to do with sex, ain't got anything to do with that. At the end of the day, all this stuff is political. And if you want to lead with that and go with that as your criticism, I can't say anything about that. But leave race out of it, because he is not obligated to vote for anybody based off their skin color. That should not be a part of the decision-making process, period. Right? Shouldn't matter what the skin color is. What matters is whether or not you think the judge is qualified and whether you agree with their judicial philosophy and their views on things. That's what really actually matters. And it's funny because these same people, if a white person was to say, hey, I'm voting for this person just because they're white, they would be screaming racism, right? Oh, you can't do that. They be boohoo whining and complain about it. But don't be surprised. Don't be surprised in the future if this what starts to happen, you're going to see a whole bunch of white people be like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to start, voting for this and voting for that based off the skin color of the person. Okay, I'm going to vote for white people because I'm white. Right? That's exactly what's about to start happening. People going to be overtly saying that. Put it that way. Okay? That's what's about to start happening because that's what everybody else is doing. So, hey, why not? Why not at this point? Because apparently, again, your skin color is what makes you qualify. If your skin color matches, then, hey, you got to vote for that person because, hey, you got to support your race, right? It doesn't matter if they actually agree with you and your personal beliefs and the judicial philosophy and your politics, any of that. That don't matter. None of that stuff matters that actually has to do with the job. It's all about race and skin color, okay? You cannot claim to be against racism, okay, and fight against racism while at the same time being openly racist and making everything about race. That's not how it works. You can't have it both ways. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.